Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be replacing the front brake pads on my 1998 Slk230 R170. On this model, the front brakes are the only ones that have a brake wear sensor. The rears don't have it. And both sides on the front have the wear sensor, and it's exactly the same on both sides. The wear sensor will mount on the inside brake pad, not the outside brake pad. First step, we will remove the vibration dampening spring that's on the front here. Next step, remove these protective caps. They may already be missing. They're typically missing on most cars, but since I bought this car new and I've never changed the pads on this car before, these dust covers are on this rubber boot that's on the back. Inside that boot is the slide pin for the caliper. There's one on the top, one on the bottom, and our next step will be to compress piston a little bit, and I'm going to do that simply by pulling on the caliper. Just enough to give us a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, these slide pins are a 7mm hex Allen key socket. You'll need that to break them loose. Now I'll back out those pins all the way, and you'll want to have some sort of wire to hang this caliper on hand, and you want to unplug the brake wear sensor, and we're also going to have to remove the brake wear sensor. They simply don't give you enough cord to get this caliper off and out of the way to change the pads. Okay, I have both of my glide pins removed, and now I got to remove it. Use a T40 Torx bit to remove the wear sensor socket, and it is on there with some thread locker. As you can see. And we are going to swing that back and out of our way. Okay, now put two screwdrivers between the outer ears of the outer brake pad and the rotor, and pull forward to get a little bit of compression onto that piston in the back. It's going to be slow. You never want to put any screwdriver or object near that piston and pry, because these pistons are usually composite in material, and you can easily damage them. Like I said, we don't have a lot of room here to work. They did not give us a lot of room. And once you got the caliper separated from the rotor, just pull forward on the inside pad and it'll come right out. And then put that right back there where it's safe. If you're going to reuse the sensor, gently, ever so gently, pry it out. There we go. Now, before I compress this piston the rest of the way, I'm going to clean everything up with brake cleaner spray. That way that boot is nice and clean when I compress that piston. I will also be using my piston compression tool. It's nice and safe. Okay, get everything cleaned up. See my caliper hanging in the back there. I wire brushed out along the contact surfaces. You may want to wear a dust mask when you do that. And when I was done, I sprayed it out with the brake cleaner. Then I applied the ceramic brake pad lubricant, never ever to the brake pad surface. And make life easier for yourself, slide a piece of cardboard between the caliper mount and the rotor so you don't get any onto the rotor, and it keeps it nice clean for you. Also applied some of the brake lubricant to the piston of the caliper, which I've used my brake tool to compress it back. If you're ever using a C-clamp to do that job, or even when you're using this, you may find it easier to put the old outer brake pad in there. That's this one without the bracket on the back, and I put it in backwards and use that as a shim between the clamp and the piston. It will help it go in straighter and smoother. So now, obviously I ran out of the blue lubricant, so now I'm onto a tube of pink that I had sitting around from the previous job. I moved my brake wear sensor onto the new pad. These brakes were not worn out, so that sensor is fine. And you want to get the clips centered in that piston. Make sure they're in the right position. And then just put an even pressure on both sides. Snap it into place. That's done. Now, also want to put some lubricant along there and there. Even though I already have it inside there, I always put some extra in there. And there is a spot up here where the outer pad will ride also. So I will put some lubricant along there. Okay, I've smeared brake lubricant on the back of the outer pad. The rear pad's in place with a little extra lubricant on the contact points. And I have lubricant up there for the outer pad's contact points. Now, remove our hanger, get that out of the way, and angle this thing into place. Okay, now we're going to put our slide pins in for the caliper. They are the ones that go back here. I've already cleaned them up with brake cleaner, got them all shiny. And then the grease I always like to use on these is silicone grease, Silglide actually. And that'll go into that boot there. And then I will use, actually just do it by hand, my 7mm hex socket, and just tighten it up by hand until it bottoms out. Let's stop there. And these are bolts that I would definitely follow the torque specifications, which I had mentioned earlier is 18 to 20 foot-pounds. I actually have mine set about 19 or 18 to 24 foot-pounds. That's it for that one. That's it. Don't go cranking them on to the point where you'll never get them off again. And then you'll put your, if you still have them, put your dust caps back onto the back of those boots. Okay, now you will bring your wear sensor socket back around into position. You're going to take that wear sensor bolt and you're going to put a drop of blue thread locker on there. Grab your T40 Torx bit and you are going to hand thread that into place. And once it gets snug, tighten it down. Does not have to be cranked on tight. That's what the thread locker is there for. It just needs to be snug. Make sure your O-ring is clean. I would not grease it because it could turn around and back out on you again. Plug that in. Now I like to put a little bit of grease where the vibration dampening spring goes. And I just insert one end into the hole. Got a pair of needle nose pliers. There. There we go. And then just tap it down with the hammer. The actual factory spring fits better in my opinion. So I'm going to hold on to that just in case, but that should be fine. And this job is completed. As always, if you like my video, find it helpful, please like, please share, please subscribe, and I will talk to you on my next job. Thanks.